Hello, it's Philly here. Just a quick announcement before we jump into today's episode. Natural Medicine Week, hosted by Australian Traditional Medicine Society, is coming up on the 22nd to the 28th of May. I'm a proud ambassador for Natural Medicine Week, which showcases all the many ways natural medicine can restore the body and mind with live online events run by qualified practitioners across Australia. You can check out the link in the show notes to find your way to Natural Medicine Week. As part of the event, I'll be holding a special free root cause of emotional eating masterclass, which you can sign up for via the Natural Medicine Week website. During the masterclass, I'll be digging into emotional eating, food addictions, sugar cravings, and the hidden imbalances in the body that cause this behavior, as well as the metaphysical imbalances that are at the deepest root cause of emotional eating. Hope you can make it. Okay, on to today's episode.
Hello and welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We're your hosts, Chris and Philly, co-founders of multi-award-winning functional medicine practice, serving busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues.
While busyness, overworking, addictive doing, and perfectionism might be the norm, it's not normal, and it's a major contributor to health issues.
Our goal with this show is to give you a holistic root cause approach to healing your body so that you don't have to continue doctor or diet hopping or popping a gazillion supplements hoping something might stick.
So get ready to heal your body, get your spark back, deeply connect with yourself, and step into the life of your dreams. Let's dive in.
G'day guys, welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. Chris here, and with me I've got Philly and Sam, one of our clients. We're super excited to have Sam in here to share her story, to go over some really interesting things that we think that you perhaps might find interesting too. So in a moment, we'll turn the time over to Sam, and we'll find out a little bit more about her, but we really appreciate all your comments, all your questions coming in. Really excited to get our podcast going with this episode. So stay tuned, and turning over to Philly. Hey, Phil.
Hello. So excited to talk to Sam. She's awesome. But before we jump in and chat to Sam, I just want to talk about stories. So the reason why we love having clients and other people come on to share their ending body burnout stories is because it's super healing. It's healing to share it with others, for the person sharing the story, but also for others to hear that story and to have evidence that it's possible to heal in different types of ways. So, Sam.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Let's just dive in to before you started working with us. How are you feeling? Maybe we'll chat about symptoms and how it was showing up in your life. What were the big things that you were struggling with?
Biggest symptoms was fatigue, definitely. Gallstone issues, that was a big problem back then as well. Yep.
All right, yeah, so chronic fatigue. I remember you were exhausted.
Very.
You were really struggling to get through a day of work. You used to love exercising, hey, and was it even going for a 40-minute walk would kind of exhaust you?
Anything physical, work, exercise, and just daily getting through the day really was an exhausting time for me.
Yeah. So that's what I would call chronic fatigue. It wasn't just just a little bit low in energy today. That's when that real physical can't get through the day.
Yeah.
Any extra physical movement that causes you to feel worse.
And it was every single day as well. It wasn't just when it's nearly the end of the week and you run down and it's nearly Friday. It was every single day, and even on my days off and when I had a few days off, it was still there.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
So.
And a symptom that's really common with chronic fatigue is brain fog.
Yes.
Brain fog. How was that? How did you experience that?
That was a lot of time just blank moments. Yeah. Can't think of what I'm trying to say. Can't think of what I'm trying to do. And at work, it affected me a lot, especially when speaking to customers on the phone and things like that. Yeah. So it impacted my life in a big way, bad way too. So.
Yeah. I mean, we use our brain to
exactly
get through life and thrive. So if you have brain fog, it's pretty crap.
Exactly.
The gallstones, super interesting. Can you tell people like the pattern of the gallstones and the attacks that you had?
Yeah. So for starters, a gallstone attack is very, very painful. Usually started off with a few days leading up to it. It would be an odd part in my back would start feeling tension, and then basically from my back through my chest would just intense pain, and then basically feels like you've been run over by a truck. So
not fun.
Not fun at all, no. And I'd be laying on the floor, flat on my back, just in agony. I couldn't really move much. I'd been stuck in bed for 3 or 4 days in that pain.
Wow.
Sometimes, and it was just terrible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes.
And you had this pattern too where you had a big gallstone attack after your birthday.
Yes.
Is that right?
That didn't happen from the start because it was gallstone attacks very randomly all the time, like maybe 2 a week, then maybe one next month or a month or 2 later, and it was just very random. And then might have been after I started trying to treat it with diet and exercise, and then it sort of balanced out to only certain times. Like I think it ended up being like every couple of months I'd have an attack, and then they wouldn't be as bad. And then it got to a point where I'd only have them about a week or 2 before my birthday.
Yeah.
Which was very odd, but
everything's connected. Everything's
Yes.
connected. And what about mental health as well? You were struggling quite a lot
Yes.
with abnormal stress response and worrying thoughts and catastrophizing anxiety, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So everything was always stressful and worrying about things, and
Yeah, cool. Okay, so before you came to Chris and Philly Functional Medicine, was there anything you did to try and like solve the issue? What sort of things were you trying?
I had tried, so I went to a psychologist for a while. That was when I was a lot younger, and that was sort of just getting it off my chest rather than actually solving any problems or digging into anything, what was wrong. It was more like an empathy episode, I guess. Just, you know, and then there was another psychologist I saw many years later, and she was very helpful. She was great. It helped me with just getting my mind in a better place and just rethinking the way I'm thinking and doing things. So she gave me a lot of good strategies, but that still didn't feel like enough because there was so much more wrong with other parts of my body systems. So as much as that did actually help a lot, there was so many other underlying issues that I didn't know about that actually needed looking at as well.
Yeah, and I would imagine too, although mind feeling a bit better, if you're chronically exhausted all the time and your brain fog is going crazy and all the gut issues and the pain, then like the body and mind are connected.
Yeah.
The gut and the brain are connected as well. So it's almost like we'll talk about your journey, but at the end of the day, it was taking a whole holistic approach to really get on top of everything that was going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And you also tried different supplements as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't get much
didn't
benefit
get much
from that. Okay.
No.
So we have a big motto, test not guess.
Yes, I love this.
Yay! We love our lab tests. And so this is a thing that I see too. A lot of people who come to us have tried stuff, or, you know, even if we're talking about supplements, it's like, oh yeah, Google said this, or maybe they saw another practitioner and the practitioner didn't necessarily do any testing, but they're just like, oh, just try this. Occasionally it works, but often it doesn't. So in functional medicine, we really want to get to the bottom of what body systems are out of balance and then treat those specifically. Are you happy to share some of the stuff that came up in your lab testing?
Yeah, we can share them.
Okay, well, we start with the adrenals because you were pretty surprised by your adrenal test.
Yeah, definitely.
What happened?
I was expecting that to be the problem.
Yep.
Like I felt like going through all the symptoms for adrenal fatigue and the symptoms I was feeling, I was like, I definitely have adrenal fatigue here. And then you finally got the test results back for me. And I was perfectly fine there.
Perfect adrenals.
There was nothing wrong. And I'm like, why do I feel so crappy then?
Which is great though, because I could have, and that's the way I used to practice. It's just like, oh, you tick all the symptoms for adrenal fatigue. Well, let's do this protocol, but it wouldn't have helped much.
Exactly.
It would have just been...
It would have been a waste of time and money and energy and just trying something that's not working. So that's what I love about your testing.
Yeah.
Because then we know that's definitely not what the problem is. And then it's like, well, my next question was, well, what do we do now?
Yep. So we did a bit more testing.
Yes.
And we did a wee test, so the organic acid test. Do you remember what showed up on that one? I've got it all written down in case you forget.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So your brain, so it showed that your dopamine and your adrenaline neurotransmitters were really depleted, which makes sense because a lot of the symptoms in adrenal fatigue often are the same when your neurotransmitters are really depleted. Mitochondria, so you do remember doing mitochondria work? Yeah, so they're the little organelles, just for the listeners, little organelles in your muscle tissue that convert food into energy. So Sam's were really damaged and retracted. There wasn't much going on in mitochondrial action, which would then, of course, cause fatigue because you're not able to produce enough energy.
Yeah.
You also had the detox and bile issues, which wasn't surprising considering the gallstones. And there was some stuff going on in your gut. So dysbiosis, where you had a bit of pathogenic bacteria overgrowing, beneficial bacteria flunked out a bit. Do you want to add anything? Like when you got those other test results back, what did you feel?
I was actually relieved. Like there was actual answers to what was wrong with me, and it's like, I'm not crazy.
It's not all in
I am
my head.
feeling, it's like sitting there every day feeling exhausted and tired, like just chronically tired. It's like, this is not normal. I shouldn't be feeling this way. There must be something wrong. And people just said, no, everyone's tired. We're all tired. I'm like, yeah, but I shouldn't be this tired. And then when seeing those results, it's like a big sense of relief that now we know what's wrong. We can actually work on fixing it.
Yeah.
And that was just one of the best feelings ever.
Yes, awesome. So then we got stuck into some really targeted supplement support. Maybe we'll talk about root causes. So the first process is to get answers and figure out what body systems are imbalanced. And then it's like, big question is, why did that happen in the first place? And is there anything still going on in your life that could be contributing to these body systems burning out? So maybe we'll talk about stress first, because with the neurotransmitters, so dopamine and adrenaline, one of the main causes of depletion of your brain chemicals is stress. Do you have anything to share about that? Like maybe like in your present life at that moment, you had a lot going on, just share what's comfortable. But also like even going back to as a kid, teenager, patterns of stress or abnormal stress response and where that was potentially coming from.
So I think back then at the time, so I did have work-related stress going on. I had family dramas going on and a bad relationship. So every aspect of my life was unhappy and stressful.
Yep.
And that alone didn't put me in a good mental state for starters. So
it was cool digging into all that stuff with you too, though, because we have a saying, you're not broken. You're not broken. What if you created this mess? So sometimes, although consciously we don't want to be in circumstances where, you know, like at work there was kind of bullying and toxic relationships and dramas and all that sort of stuff. But if we kind of looked at patterns too. It's like, Sam, this seems to be a pattern of like getting into these circumstances. And so then it's, yes, there's external stresses going on, but it's why you end up in that situation, or even how you experience that stress as well, which is often like a lot of internal stuff. Are you happy to share like a little bit about childhood and...
So I did grow up more isolated and I didn't go to school. So this has recently realised that this has taken a big impact on my life because I didn't get to socialize and I didn't get to go to school and learn a lot. And then going out into the world and everything was so confusing. It's like there's so much I didn't get to learn growing up, and then seeing people reading really well and managers at work as well. Like, it confused me that people know what they're doing and I was going through having no idea. And it was only, I think, about maybe 12 months or so ago that I actually realised how bad the education that I got was. And if I'd known that a long time ago, I would have understood things a bit more. But since realising that, I've actually, like, it's sort of a sense of more relaxed and learning things a lot easier. Like, just being aware of it was enough to help and make those improvements where I need to. And I, like, even at my new job, I'm learning everything so quickly and picking things up so well, and like I'm remembering things a lot better as well.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I think too, I remember when we first started working with you, there was a lot of like, oh, it's because I didn't get education and this is why. And then we kind of helped you break it down even further, that it's like, well, it's not necessarily what happened to you or around you. It was how it made you feel about yourself, which then causes those responses of, oh, you know, when you were older and you're like, oh, I don't think or do the same as all these other people who have gone to school. It's not necessarily that because you were homeschooled or not very well homeschooled. It was more like how it was making you feel about yourself, and then having that awareness too, and then reframing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I remember even like the smallest things freaked you out, like in terms of like, I don't know what to do now, everyone hates me, blah, 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 blah.
It was a lot of that.
And so now you're like, what's your I guess is like the anxiety and what's happening in your mind now? Like, are you feeling like you said before, a lot more relaxed, understanding yourself more, I would say,
definitely.
Which makes it easier to respond to stresses when they come. And you've had a pretty intense last few months as well, with building a house and lots of work, but coping with all of that so much better.
It's so much different now as well. Like, my mindset and the way I'm thinking, like, just being aware of it and what I'm doing and what other people are saying, and when people are talking, remembering to actually listen and learn from what they're saying as well, especially at work when someone's teaching me how to do something. And I'm actually listening more and paying attention, and even watching when they're teaching someone else something, and just learning that way. And now that I know how to learn, and like, I'm picking so much up a lot easier.
And not taking it personally as well, because like back in the day it would have been like, oh, there's something wrong with me, I'm broken. Whereas now it's just like, oh, this is the experience that I had. And now this is how I, the strategies that I have to improve myself and my life.
Yeah, that's how it is. You said exactly how I would have said it.
Awesome. Just touching on like root causes around the mitochondria, the gut stuff, the detox stuff. So a lot of like stress is a major impact on every single body system, but just picking up some other things too. Like toxins is a huge cause of the mitochondria to become really damaged. So when you're exposed to toxins, that could be environmental toxins, alcohol, junk food, skincare, smoking, all that sort of stuff can cause a big impact. And even from an earlier life, you were quite exposed to a lot of smoking.
Yes.
Secondary smoking.
Yeah, my parents did smoke a lot when I was younger, and as long as I can remember, they've always smoked. And I think even while my mum was pregnant with me, she could have even been drinking as well when she was pregnant with me. So, that's probably caused a lot of damage there, or some.
Yeah, well, it sets people up. Like, if that's the environment that you've grown up in, even if someone grew up in a like a toxin-free environment, we're just still so exposed to so many toxins in our environment now. And so that toxic load over time accumulates, which is why I feel like you had the gallstones and all the attacks and your detox pathways just weren't clearing toxins effectively. So it all just got built up into your system, which is probably why you weren't, although you managed or reduced the symptoms with the gallstone attacks with diet and exercise, it wasn't quite getting to the bottom of you know, the fatigue and the ongoing attacks until we really did some restoration work around there.
Yeah, so I only end up having gallstone attacks around once or twice a year instead of every couple of weeks or couple of months, and very randomly it did, just the diet and exercise did manage it quite well, but since being on your program and going through all this supplements and health and everything, it's definitely made a big difference. Like just feeling how, like, because I get tension around my gallbladder area. Like if I know I've eaten the wrong foods or something, or I'm stressing, I do feel that tension, and I can feel when a gallstone attack is coming close, or if I'm at risk of having one, and then I got to watch what I'm eating and stuff. But even the last few months, I've been stressed with work and everything, not in a really bad way, but just managing my life and juggling what I've got at the moment. And just keeping an eye on how my body's functioning as well while I'm so busy, and just making sure I'm not running myself into the ground or going to have a gallstone attack. And there's not those signs there that there used to be. So things are improving. Definitely.
We'll talk about some improvements that you saw along the way. So we were chatting earlier around the gallstones, because I just thought it was fascinating. And like every time after your birthday, you would get a massive attack.
It was 2 weeks before.
2 weeks before your birthday. Yeah. Okay, so there's some like emotional, mental kind of like stuff going on there, I reckon, as well. But you said you haven't had any attacks in the last 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years,
yeah, which is awesome. So cool. You haven't had it scanned again, have you?
Not for a while, at least.
Okay, that'd be interesting just to see, like, have they dissolved now? Because it is possible that
not since we went on the supplements for it.
Yeah. What about, like, when did you start seeing an increase in energy? Like, are there any stories or moments that you remember where you're like, oh, I used to not be able to do that, but now I can do this?
I think there was a few times when I did my morning workout and I had a day where I'd gone out and went for a hike or something, and then I got back and I'm like, I don't feel exhausted. I was actually, like, my energy was there, but it wasn't like that hyped up over the top. It was more calm and relaxed and like a happy body kind of feeling. And then, getting back into a good exercise routine, and I was happy because my body was doing what I wanted to be doing. Yeah. And then I wasn't run down and tired afterwards. So that was, I think I do remember some of the moments when I'm not realizing it until I do realize, and then I'm like, oh, look how amazing I'm feeling. I'm doing something and I'm not tired. Because then, like, after having the fatigue for so long, and like whenever I go for a hike with my friends and then I come back and I'm just dead to the world exhausted. And that put a little fear in my head, because I love going places. And then every time I thought about going somewhere, the thought of how exhausted I'm going to feel afterwards. And I'm still trying to get rid of that fear sometimes. It's like, it still pops in sometimes. And I'm like, I could go for a hike. I hope I don't feel really tired the next day or something, or at the end of it.
Which is interesting, because when someone's had a chronic health issue, which is what we would call body burnout, it's trauma. It is trauma. It's waking up every day, like for you, your experience was exhausted and brain fog and your mind constantly worrying, and then having these gallstone and gut issues. Like that chronic pain is trauma. So it's not uncommon. Like it's pretty normal once you actually physically heal to then have these little thoughts pop up, like, ooh, can I do it? And then, and then you can kind of work. Do you work through that though? Like when you have those thoughts, it's like, okay, do I choose to believe this now, or is there there's a new version of me? Yeah, there's
definitely a new version. Yeah. And like these thoughts do pop up sometimes, and more with the going for walks. Like I know it was a struggle getting up in the morning for work. My alarm would go off and I'd be grumbling and rolling over and hitting snooze a couple of times. And now I don't. Like my alarm goes off and I'm just awake and I'm like, okay, turn the alarm off. I will sit in bed for a little bit and check my phone and see who's messaged me overnight and stuff. And then get out of bed and get dressed and everything. But like it's it's not hard like it used to be. It was such a difficult process just to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
And then now it's like there's no worry or fear. And even at night time before I go to bed, when I know I've got to get up at 5:30 in the morning, there's not that anxiety and stress like I have to go to bed at a specific time in order to be okay when I wake up. It's like I've had a few nights where I've been up quite late and I'm still like, okay, I know I'm probably going to be a bit more tired in the morning, but then my alarm goes off and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was
way
just
more
like
resilient,
more stressed about and mind conscious about what time I'm going to bed, and I have to go to bed early tonight because I've got an early morning, and I'm not as worried about that.
You're just a normal human now.
Exactly.
And also brain fog, because it was interesting too, and I feel like this is important for people to understand that healing isn't linear. Like it's not like do this, follow this program or this protocol, and you will get better in a steep. In a linear way. So you started experiencing improvements with brain fog. It was kind of like slow too. It wasn't sort of like after 1 month, no brain fog. It was month by month, things started getting better.
It did slowly, and then it did take a little while for me to start noticing with the brain fog, and I'm like, I'm actually functioning better at work now. And like it did take a little bit of time for it to start working and start sinking in, but and then once I started noticing, I'm like, this is really good. I can actually think better, and I don't feel my term for it, I felt like a zombie every day, like just brain dead kind of thing. So.
And then what happened? The big C came.
Sorry?
The big C, COVID.
Oh, yes. That reversed the brain fog, definitely.
It did. I don't think it was as bad, though. I think it definitely reversed it, and then we need to do a little bit more TLC work to get you back up to, brain fog free. Yeah. But I feel like, well, actually, just from a clinical perspective, so many people, like whether it was a reaction to a vaccine or they got COVID and things went a bit pear-shaped, and that's kind of life as well, and the healing journey is that stuff pops up where you go back a bit, but you had the motivation and the big vision, and also you knew what was possible for you to get back on the horse and keep going. Yeah. Awesome. So how does life look different for you? You've talked about like how your body feels, but have you had any cool changes in your life too after doing this holistic healing?
So I've just bought a house.
Woohoo!
That's really exciting. It's been a big journey though, and there's been a lot of stresses involved with it. So I finally moved in, and it's fantastic. I'm not unpacked yet. Probably give it a year, maybe.
Neither are we, and we moved in almost a year ago.
Exactly. No,
awesome.
So that's been a big thing, and exciting and stressful all at the same time. But and I'm working 2 jobs, so I am a little bit overworking myself just to make sure I'm comfortable with making these repayments and everything. And it's a little bit on top of me, but I'm still like, I'm not exhausted the way I used to be. I'm where's the right words? Pushing through, like.
Probably normal tired for juggling 2 jobs.
The tired, I feel like I should have been feeling back when I was more really tired, like chronically fatigued. I was like, that's not right to be feeling that way. And like how I'm feeling now, that would have made more sense back then.
And we were saying when we were chatting earlier that it just would not have been possible. Like you would not have a house right now. You would not be able to be working the way that you are. And you also got out of some not great relationships or our relationship as well. And what did you say earlier? I'm feeling awesome just being independent.
Yeah, that's
like not feeling like you needed to fill a hole with a relationship that was kind of a pattern in the past.
I don't need a relationship. I need more money, but
don't we all?
Don't want a boyfriend. I don't want a boyfriend. I want a better job. No, I'm happy. I'm happy being this. Like,
well, you're happy in yourself.
Yeah, comfortable and happy in myself, in my independence, and I've got a lot of work to do around my house with my garden and everything, and I'm happy to work on that and figure out a relationship later on if it comes in. And it's like I'm just happy where I am with myself.
I love that. I feel like what we are super passionate about is not just like dosing you up with like supplements and diets, but really helping you to connect to yourself, because often people get sick because they've broken a relationship with themselves. They've broken rapport, and now it's like really becoming connected and in tune to who you are, to the signals from your body. And then when all that happens, like, yeah, you are enough. You are awesome.
Yes.
You don't need anyone else to like tell you that they love you, because you love you.
Exactly.
I love it. So good. Okay, I think that this is our last question. So if anyone currently listening is struggling with body burnout and they have been trying, or maybe not even trying, and they feel like there's no hope, what would you say to that person if you came across them on the beach?
Definitely stick with taking the supplements and the programming and everything. Like, I'm one of those people that when I get told by my doctors or medical practitioners, this is what you need to do in order to heal, I take it very seriously, and I'll put it into my routine, and I'm a very routine-based person. So if there's supplements I got to take with breakfast, I'll take those supplements. If there's supplements with lunch, I'll take those. And some with dinner, I'll take those. And what mindful meditation things are in there too, I will always make time for them. And that's the key, is making sure you keep up to date with everything, because that's what I did. Yes, I'm not perfect. I did miss some supplements I was meant to take, and here and there, and it was mostly when I had a day out, and it's like, it's difficult to take supplements when you're going out for dinner. It's a bit awkward sitting there at the table and trying to scoff down like 10 pills or something.
Yeah, but I feel like that pattern wasn't just with supps as well. It was like you were showing up to group calls, you were showing up to your appointments, you were implementing things. Even when you didn't get it as well, you continued asking the questions.
Yeah.
It's like, especially with the inner work and the stories that were floating around in your head, it was like you really took the whole holistic approach, which was awesome. And
even if you can't manage to fit all of it in, at least take on the bits that you know are going to help, or feel like you can make a difference with this. And there were days when I did that as well. Like, I can't do this whole lot today, but I'm going to do this little thing. And then that gives me that peace of mind. I did something, and every little step counts. Yeah. And
Chris always says 1% better every day.
I've been saying that every day. I'm like, when I've had a bad day, I'm like, I'm going to be 1% better. When I get up the next day, it's like, I'm going to be 1% better today than I was yesterday. Yes. Every time after a bad day. Yeah. And it's like, I'm going to be 1% better today. And sometimes I think, no, I'm going to be 10% better.
Ooh, I'm feeling good today.
Yeah. I'm like, 10% is on.
That is so good. And that's what makes it sustainable as well, because actually I probably should have looked at it to see how long this journey has taken you.
I think it's been over 12 months.
Yeah, yeah. Like it wasn't kind of like a 1 month thing and done. And
it's not like a quick fix. It's like, it's a long journey. And even sort of a fair few months in, I'm thinking, is this supposed to take this long? Like, when we were doing the focus calls, like, there was some people that were on there for a while and then they disappeared, and I'm like, have they already finished their journey? And it's like, am I still here? And I'm like, I feel like people come and go and I'm still here, and I'm like, am I extra? Do I need extra care or something?
No, you were just showing up for yourself. Yeah. Regularly. And I think that's the thing, like, regularly, even if it wasn't perfect, and was sustainable for you, and then that's what got you the results. Yeah. So good. Yeah. Well done, you.
Stick to it and you get the results.
Yes. So good. Thank you so much, Sam. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you. We've loved working with you. You're awesome.
And I've loved being here. It's been an amazing journey, and you are beautiful people.
Thank you. So much love. So much love in this room right now.
Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you. If you'd like to give us extra smiles, drop us a review and spread the love by sharing this episode.
You can also rate your own state of burnout and the root cause contributors by taking our Ending Body Burnout assessment on our website. And if you're interested in learning about our group or one-on-one Ending Body Burnout programs, shoot us a DM via Instagram or Facebook. Have the best day ever.